Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Are we all excited?
Yes.
Are we all excited?
Yes.
That's better. Dearie me. Right, okay, so some of you have met me, some of you haven't met me, but this training isn't all about me, but I just want to tell you very, very quickly for those that haven't met me before, yes, I have been in the business for 28 years. I started all those years ago because I was at a crossroads in my life. I was looking for something that was going to be able to help me to bring security into the family. With the young family that I had at the time, I was a single mum. Then I met Ashley, who introduced me to Forever. And it all started with me seeing the potential with the products, but also understanding that it was a business model that I would be able to work into my world and be able to duplicate and help others to do the same. And so what I'm going to share with you today, my section, is really the basics of how to get going and how to see the business as a business. And what's really interesting and exciting is to see how the business has changed with the advancements of how it can be made easier with the tools that we have. So back in the day when I started my business all those years ago, yes, the principles were still there about talking to people about the products, sharing the products, showing people how that they could get a benefit with the products. And but then alongside what we have now, those tools that can make things a lot easier with what we have from a digital point of view. So I think that what Tina and I wanted to do with this training, and I know some people may have come to the old product and customer care training, that we wanted to bring it into the world of today. So we're super excited because we think that this is a new twist on maybe what some of you have done in the past, but also making it really relevant for the world that we live in today and incorporating those tools. So without the movement of product, there is no business. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. And also, we wanted to be able to share with you how you would set up a business. Because once again, in the world we live in today, one of the most important things that we need to get a message across is to trust us. Because I'm sure you're aware in the digital world that we live in that there is a lot of trust gone out the window because there's lots of things that are happening and people saying, well, who is this company? What are they all about? So we wanted to be able to bring something across to help you to build up the trust in the people you're talking to about the products and the business. And so we're going to go through step by step with for you. So you can actually, you might say, draw a line in the sand and say, this is how I would start the business today. But then also to help you, it means that when you have a brand new team member join your team, they can follow the same system. Does that make sense? Because it is all about duplication and making it easy and simple to follow. So this is all based on if someone is starting the business. Do I actually, don't know if I want to use that one or the other one. Oh, I'll use that one because that worked. So this is how we're breaking down the training. I'm going to start off about the history and benefits of aloe vera, because the basics of Forever is, yes, we have amazing products. We are expanding into other areas, but a lot of people are going to be thinking about building up that trust of building a business with Forever. What is this aloe? What's the history? What are the benefits of it? And then, of course, the next question a lot of people ask is, okay, I understand about aloe, but why Forever's aloe? Why would I want to recommend Forever Living's aloe vera? Who kind of gets that? Who's in the early days of their business would go around looking at other aloe products and get a little bit confused and thinking, oh my gosh, look, that one says it's got 100% aloe vera in it. And then you start to get worried. So we want to kind of break that down for you to understand the benefits of Forever. And then for those of you that came to the product school, this is a different training because we're not focusing on loads of products. We're just focusing on the products that are in the Start Your Journey pack. Because when somebody joins your team, the first thing they need to get their head around is just 10 products. That's it. So that's the only area that we're focusing on, and just the simple language that you need in the early days of a business to be able to communicate that across to your customers and your prospects. And then sales and marketing. So any business, doesn't matter what industry you're in, you need to be able to market your business. You need to know how to build up sales. So we're going to show you the step-by-step of how in the world of Forever, you'll be able to use your foreverliving.com dashboard, how to get the most out of it, and to be able to set up all the things that you need to get your business up and running. And of course, that means you'll be able to duplicate that into your team. And then we're going to have lunch, and then after lunch we have Tina is going to go through the retailing options, all the different ways that you can bring the movement of product into your business. So you find what works for you. We're going to share some ideas with you, and then how to run different kinds of events that to suit you. And of course, our business is about having customers, and how do we then build up that customer base through having retention and obviously loyalty. So we don't want to have customers that just come on a, you might say, a conveyor belt and then just keep going. You've got to keep constantly looking for new customers, because it's about building up that trust and respect and rapport. And then finally, a little bit of profit from the sales. So it's going to be broken down into those areas, but also, just so you know, after lunch, you're going to be doing something super exciting. Are you excited to know what you're going to be doing? We're going to put you into teams, and we're going to send you on an adventure all around Longbridge Manor, because you're all going to go on a treasure hunt in teams. Yeah, because we thought it'd be really good for you to get to know more about the company behind the scenes, and in different rooms around the manor there are clues hidden. And so there's going to be a prize for the person that comes first. Okay, so yeah, so I just thought we'd get that. That's going to be happening halfway through the day. You're looking forward to that? Yeah. We're going to see how competitive you all are now. It's going to be like, you know, going to be like this. Get out the room. I think Michael's going to be standing in his office making sure that there's. Yeah. Right, okay, so let's start the day with, I'm going to put that down and I'm going to use there. Let's talk about aloe vera and the history of aloe. So let's just get a little bit of understanding that aloe is nothing new. It's been around for literally thousands and thousands of years. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's a little bit of a timeline there that you might find interesting, just to see some of the areas that aloe has been used through history. So a lot of people know about Cleopatra. She used to use it for her skincare regime. And also Alexander the Great. He used to trundle cartloads of aloe into battle with him to put onto his wounded soldiers to help them with their recovery. Christopher Columbus, he took it on his expeditions. And Gandhi is actually known, very well known to say, "You ask me, what were the secret forces which sustained me during my long fast? Well, it was my unshakable faith in God, my simple and frugal lifestyle, and the aloe, whose benefits I discovered upon my arrival in South Africa at the end of the 19th century." So I think it's really important to understand that aloe is nothing new, and the benefits of aloe have been known through the years. So, aloe. Aloe is actually a very distant relative of the lily, onion and asparagus family. In fact, it's also a very distant relative of the cucumber. Think about what's inside the cucumber, that kind of gel, yeah? It's some kind of like half cousin 25 times removed or something like that. But we all know the benefits of cucumber, don't we? If we take a slice of cucumber, what do we do with the cucumber? Put it on our eyes, yeah, to cool and soothe our eyes. So the same kind of benefits are known for the cousins or the other family members. Now, there are over 200 different varieties, but the most potent one is the one that Forever uses in its products, and it's the aloe vera barbadensis miller. And that is really important because sometimes you hear out there when people talk about aloe vera that, oh, you shouldn't use aloe vera because it's not good for you. I think it's really important to understand that sometimes that's a generalization that people talk about aloe, because there are so many different varieties. It's like anything else. It's like mushrooms, isn't it? Yeah? That we know there are some mushrooms that you should probably avoid. Yeah? Why are you laughing at this table? Have you experienced some kind of happy mushroom on this table? Just what you've heard. But there are other mushrooms that could be quite poisonous, yeah? And so it's exactly the same thing with aloe, because we know it comes from nature. Nature derives all these wonderful plants, but a lot of them are there because they need to have their own defensive system. Yeah, so we don't use any of the aloes that sometimes are documented that aloe is not good. So if anybody asked you that question, it's not good to have aloe, then you can put them right and they can say, well, of course, it's just like mushrooms. And by using that example, people understand it, just like mushrooms. Okay? Next one. When we talk about aloe, now some people will say, oh yes, I've got aloe vera on my windowsill in my kitchen. That's what I use. And you go, right, that's nice. But the most important thing is that it's not just the aloe that you're using, it's the maturity of the aloe that counts. You see, it's like anything else, that an aloe plant has to build up its nutrient content. And that only comes through maturity of growing to a certain size, of around about 4 to 5 years of maturity to get its full potency. But the other important thing is not just the size of the aloe, it's where it gets its nutrients from. So where do you think the aloe gets its nutrients from? Soil. Where else? Sun. Yeah. Now, if you actually have an aloe vera plant growing on your windowsill in Leamington Spa, do you think it's going to get the right nutrients from the soil? Do you think it's going to get the right amount of sunshine? Obviously not, because it's in England. And also, is it going to get the right water? Because of course, what also do you get if it rains in the water? Nutrition and minerals from rain as well. So it's a combination of all those things that are really powerful. So even though people say I take the aloe from my aloe plant on my windowsill, or I've got an aloe plant that I bought when I went to the supermarket, or I went to the garden centre, you explain the power of aloe that has been grown in the right environment. Okay, so that's sometimes, once again, it's questions that will come up. Now, this is really important, this word adaptogenic. For those of you who came to my product school, I wanted to try and get you to understand this, because aloe is super, super special, and it's because it has the ability to adapt to its environment, to what's going on around it, to what is happening to it with its stresses. Now, adaptogenic plants, aloe is not just the only adaptogenic plant, but adaptogenic plants need to be able to adapt, not just on a monthly or weekly or daily basis, but even faster than that if need be, to do with what is going on in its environment. So that means that why is it that we can drink aloe and it suits the inside of our body, and we can apply aloe to our skin and it suits the outside of our body? Because if you understand about how our body is, on the outside, its protection and its level of pH is acidic. Because I think a lot of you know that our pH of our skin is 5.5 approximately. But then inside our body needs to be alkaline to be in balance. So the good alkaline level for your inside of your body is around about 7.36, which is just a little bit alkaline. So how can aloe work if you drink it or you apply it to your skin? It's because it has the ability to adapt. It's an adaptogen. And if people ask you, how does that work? We just have to trust nature. Yeah, it's one of those kind of things that people go, wow, this is amazing, but it suits the environment inside our body and suits the environment outside our body. Okay, I wanted to get you to understand this in real simple terms, because once again, sometimes people get a little bit confused about how it all works, where does it all come from, and sometimes little bits that people say you should avoid that part of the plant. But I want you to understand that each part of the plant has its own role and is really important. So first of all, we have the outside part, which is the rind of the plant. And this is dark green. And of course, it's dark green and it's hard and waxy for protection, but it also has chlorophyll. And does anybody know what chlorophyll does? That's right, it helps to manufacture, it's part of the manufacturing process. We need chlorophyll in a plant to help with manufacturing. So it's really important to understand that the manufacturing of nutrients, because things are coming into the plant, aren't they? Yeah, and that's where all these nutrients that are coming into the plant from the soil or from the sky going into the plant, and that's where they're all manufactured. So that is really powerful. Do you now understand why Forever choose to put the rind of the aloe back into the soil? Yeah, because you know it is full of goodness in its own way. We don't want to be drinking it or putting it onto our skin, but it has its own role anyway. So then we have this sap. This is the little bit that's right underneath the rind. And this is where we have tubes, because you imagine you've got where everything is manufactured. Now we need a delivery system. So the delivery system is where we have all these tubes and where we have the sap. And it will transport all the goodness, all the water, all the minerals right down into where we need to store it all. Okay, so this comes from the roots, it comes from the sunshine and the rain, and then it all goes into be stored in the inner gel. But then we have the mucilage, and the easiest way to think about the mucilage is it's like a plastic bag. So the mucilage is where it's the bag that actually holds everything together, where the gel is, where all the nutrients are. And so the gel fillet is the bit that has all the active ingredients. Does everybody understand that now? Okay, so that is the breakdown of understanding how the plant structure works. So the most important thing then is the active bit. And the active bit is this inner gel, and that's the bit that we use in all of our products. So we take the aloe product, sorry. So what is fascinating is that the aloe, and this is the Aloe barbadensis miller, because there, as I said, there's a whole variety. So we're not talking about any other plant apart from this Aloe barbadensis miller, and that's why we use it, because of the potency. But also nature has delivered a plant that has over 75 nutrients. But the power of the nutrients is the fact that they all are in perfect balance. So even though there's 75 nutrients of vitamins, mineral, amino acids, enzymes, coenzymes, all of these different things, that it's the fact that you've got the right amount of everything to be able to work with each other. So that's where the power comes from. It's not the amount of vitamin C or the amount of B12. In fact, there's B12, but it's a tiny amount. So the easiest way I like to describe it is, who here makes cakes? Anybody bake a cake? Right. So can you tell me what are the... Just tell me, what are the main ingredients when you make a sponge cake? Flour, butter, eggs and sugar. Who would all agree with that? Yeah. Now, would you agree that you need to get the amounts right? Yeah, because if you don't get the amounts right, what can happen to your sponge? Or you can have a really soggy or a soggy, there's nothing worse than a soggy bottom. So you need to get the percentages right, yeah, to make sure you got the sponge rises. So that is the importance of getting the balance of things together. But things can change that basic sponge cake by a tiny, tiny, tiny little pinch of something like cinnamon. Yeah? So what we're saying is that with maybe a couple of pinches of cinnamon, it can make the sponge cake completely different. Would you agree? Even a drop of vanilla essence or anything else. Who agrees with that? So the important thing to understand that when you are making something like a cake, it's not the biggest amount. Sometimes the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. Yeah? So when you look at aloe vera, it's not the biggest amount that's in there. It's the synergistic effect of all the tiny bits working together to make the perfect cake, basically. Okay? So it's a really easy way to explain to people why is it that it works the way it does. One of the key things that we have in here is ace mannan. And in fact, the aloe vera barbadensis is the only one that has this ace mannan in it. And the ace mannan is one of the super ingredients that is really important for how the aloe barbadensis can help the body in so many different ways. Okay, so that's one of the understanding why we use this particular aloe. And then it also has fiber, it has plant sterol, salicylic acid, saponins. The saponins are those soapy substances. In fact, you could get the aloe gel from inside a leaf and you could mush it up like that. You could put it onto your skin and rub it and it will start to go soapy. And also we have the cleansers in there as well. Now, lignin is this cellulose substance, and it's the lignin which is super, super special. Why? It helps to take ingredients down. You're using it on your skin. We don't want nutrients to sit on the surface of our skin, do we? Because the surface of our skin is actually dead skin. We want to get it to the active part, and the active part in our skin is deep down. So we want to get all those ingredients further down into our deeper layers of the skin. So that is how all of these things together, it's the potency because they are working together in perfect balance.